Hello, and welcome back to the Tap That Magic podcast. I am so freaking excited because today feels like honestly more of a conversation than just like me showing up and teaching lessons and having lightning bolts shoot out of my butt, even though every single day, you know me, I'm like writing on rainbows, sipping on Mountain Dew. Like that's kind of the energy that I bring to the online space, and I'm so freaking here for it. But today it really does feel a little bit more like a conversation, even though there's going to be like a deep nitty gritty lesson to it. But it's more so, these are some of my favorite things that I never really talk about in my business. And I'm really just starting to talk about them more on my TikTok. And I don't know about you, but I have had this lightning bolt moment recently where, I had a friend pass away. There were a lot of things that like all kind of culminated at once that made me realize like how freaking short life is. And like, I don't want to leave one stone unturned. I don't want to leave one shred of my personality outside of my business. Like, I want to just jump in the pool. Like there's no more time of like testing the waters. Like this, like truly, this is my background of being a psychic medium, is the understanding that like today could be your last day. So why not lay it all out on the field and go for it? And these people that we're going to be talking about today have really inspired this for me. But before we go into it, I'm going to share my screen because I got to look at my notes because I got a squirrel brain. Sometimes I got a squirrel brain. Okay. So we're starting this off talking about comparison and like how to ditch that online, because if you are an online entrepreneur or if you're a content creator, like that feeling of like whenever you see somebody else make a video and you're like, oh my God, or somebody else hit a goal and you're like, oh my God, that is so cool. Why am I not there yet? Like all of these things start circling your brain, and it can be so freaking easy to put other people on a pedestal and make yourself feel like garbage. Like you can literally sit there and make yourself feel like shit all day long, but it's actually your job as a content creator, as an entrepreneur, as a person that knows you are meant to get up on your social media soapbox and shine. You have to like regulate your nervous system, and you have to be the kind of person that really is in charge of your own feelings and your own experiences and your own thoughts. And so about 2 years ago, I made this like promise to myself that I was no longer going to be putting other people on pedestals, because if you've heard me talk before, and even if you're brand new, like I used to be a B type personality. Like I'm still like a laid back little chill girl, but like I always allowed these A type personalities to like come up in my life, whether it be friends or other people that I looked up to, and kind of let them take the wheel. And I just played co-captain in my life. And something happened about 2 years ago where I was like, you know what? Like maybe it was because I'm in my 30s, and maybe it's just because I'm just tired of sitting back and letting other people jump in whenever I know that I needed to be taking charge of my life and like going for it, and not piddle-footing around, not just testing my toes in the water, but really going for it. That I was like, you know what? I'm done putting people on pedestals and thinking that other people are better than me, more beautiful than me, more talented than me. And I'm just going to decide like, what happens if we go all in on Stephanie? Like, what happens if we truly believe like she's got the grooviest juice in the galaxy? And let's show up like that. And it was a real like come to Jesus moment that I had to have with myself, that I'm like, no more comparison, no more like getting yourself so upset because like maybe somebody has a result that you haven't created in a certain amount of time and it looks this way, or you wanted to do that. Like I decided I was done, and it was honest to God the best freaking thing I ever did for my business, and I have felt the healthiest, the happiest since doing that. And so I want you to be able to ditch this idea of putting other people on pedestals, or even like letting other people's level of success make you start doubting yourself and what your magic is. Like, oh my gosh, it happened for them in 6 months. If it didn't happen for me in 6 months, what does that mean? Am I not good enough? Am I not supposed to be doing this? Girl, we all got our own story. We all have our own journey that we uniquely have to take and walk the path. And my golly goodness, I didn't add him as on the list of activators that I'm going to be talking about today, but my weird ass has been like obsessed with Marcus Aurelius lately. And I don't know if you know who Marcus Aurelius is, but he was the Roman like governor or emperor or whatever, like freaking almost 2,000 years ago. And this mofo basically put out his thoughts in a journal, almost like tweets, almost like threads. Like he would just be dropping knowledge every night. And there was so much that I have like been inspired by him lately. And it's like, it's so different than these other activators that I'm using. But every single thing that comes into your life that gives you pause, that makes you stop, that makes you say, there's something there. It's because it's meant to turn on something in your system. And so I'm just like being bamboozled with oodles of lessons from this guy from 2000 years ago, realizing history kind of repeats itself in the long run. Like the people that were dealing with problems 2000 years ago, it's the same shit that we're dealing with today. It's just on a different level because we're on social media and because we're showing up, putting our face on camera. And if anything, we are so deeply blessed to the fact that like it's so easy for us. You don't have to go town to town. You don't have to ride your horse city to state, wherever to get your message out there. You can literally record a video today and start to build a brand and start to build a community. And so we are so fortunate in this day and age, and there's just no more time for comparison. Okay, so I really want to go over 5 things that are going to help you navigate through this comparison energy. And then I want to talk about some of the people that have really helped me understand my own unique gifts and how I can start bringing them to the table. And maybe this will help you as you start scoping out other people, or as you start to see these things that you're interested in, like paying attention to what it is about these different people that make you want to stand up, that make you want to get excited, that you're like, hey, this is inside of me too, and I'm ready to bring this out as well. So overcoming comparison is something that you have to make a priority if you're going to be a content creator. Like bottom line, you have to decide that like no longer are you going to be looking left and right at A and B. You are in your own lane, and that is the healthiest fucking place you could ever be. And so the very first thing is you have to create more. I guarantee this, 99% of people out there are not creating enough content to make themselves feel like the go-to and the expert. I guarantee you have so much juice in this big squishy brain of yours that you are just not sharing on repeat, unapologetically over and over and over again. And if you were, you would not give a shit what other people are posting or other people have going on in their life, because you're so damn busy creating your own content and showing up and using your voice. There's no time to listen to a million other voices whenever you are so preoccupied with your own craft that everything else is just white noise on the outside. Okay. So the very first thing with overcoming comparison is you just got to go. You just got to move. You're not waiting for Mercury retrograde to end. You're not waiting for a full moon. You're not waiting for bullshit, bullshit, bullshit a year later when I'm more confident. You're just getting up and moving now. Bottom line, you're moving now. Okay. The second thing is setting your own goals. So it's super, super easy whenever we're on social media to see certain people. Maybe they get a house, maybe they get a car, maybe they get the relationship, maybe they get a certain amount of clients in an offer that they're creating. And it can be really easy for us to get our priorities kind of out of whack of like what's actually really important to us. And so, yes, you can have these big goals, these big dreams, and be activated by the things that other people have accomplished. Like I think about Russell Brunson. He's the guy that created ClickFunnels. And I remember reading in one of his books talking about the fact he's like, I got so excited one time that I saw that this guy made $1 million from one of his online offers. And it gave me that permission slip to be like, oh, this can be done. I'm going to go do that. Right? That is beautiful. We want that in our lives. And we're so fortunate that we live in the day and age where we can see other people accomplishing great things and be like, holy shit, that is possible for me too. If that little Joe Schmo or Larry can do it, like, of course I can, right? But you got to get real with yourself in the beginning too, and truly make your own goals. And so my biggest thing that I always tell people is you've really got to make the reward the doing. You've got to make your daily reward, instead of everybody kissing your feet, giving you 1,000,000 times validation. Your reward has to be like, I sent out that fucking email today and it was so good. It was so much better than that email that I sent last week or 3 days ago. Like I just created this carousel on Instagram and oh my God, that was crystal clear. That was speaking directly to my ideal clients. Oh my God, I just made a video where I just like laid it all out on the line. I said the shit that I was afraid to say. I didn't care what mom, dad, Larry, or Joe said about it. Like I put it out there because I know it's speaking directly to my clients. Like these are the things that have to be the reward. Because whenever you're so obsessed with the work and what you're putting into it, that is going to make you happy as a clam along the way. You don't want to look back at your entrepreneurial journey. You don't want to look back at your content creation journey and just be like, fuck, I was flustered the whole time and I was impatient and I was like mad that it took me so long. No, you want to be able to look back at the work of your life and be like, I had so much fun every fucking day. I had so much fun every fucking day, and I'm so glad that I made the doing the fun. The next thing, whenever it comes to getting over this comparison energy online, is really, they say it all the time, but truly, if you can find gratitude in who you are, that is the best medicine. Honestly, there are, what is it, like billions of people on this planet, and there's only one you. Nobody talks like you. Nobody has an interest in all of the things that you're wearing and you're saying and you're obsessed with. Like I literally had this thought the other day. I was wearing a sweatshirt that if you've ever read Throne of Glass or ACOTAR or any of that, I was wearing a sweatshirt that has this dragon on it, this like wyvern. And I also had on a pair of shorts that I don't know where I got years and years ago, but they have like fucking artichokes on them. Like it's so weird. I have like zero interest in artichokes. I'm like, where did these shorts come from? But I'm like wearing this combination and I'm like, nobody else in the world is wearing this right now. I guarantee it. Like this is so weird. This is so Stephanie. This is so different. And so like it's about loving those things about yourself and being grateful for those things about yourself, whether it is your voice and the way that you speak, whether it is your style and the things that you wear, whether it is your methodology, how you teach these things, how you solve a problem, how you create pieces of content that look so different than everybody else's, okay? So like being so fucking grateful and so in love with who you are that there's just not room for anybody else. You can be like, go you, but also you're just so marinated in your own juice that it doesn't even matter. Marinated in your own juice, Jesus Christ. Like, but truly, you're just like so in your own lane that it doesn't even matter what's going on the outside, right? Oh, this is another one, especially whenever it comes to like combining these two things of like ditching the comparison, but also, don't mind my squeaky chair, ditching the comparison, but also like finding online activators is like, yeah, you're going to find people online, whether they are in your industry or they do something totally different that are going to like create a spark inside of you. But just like we were talking about, like not putting people on pedestals anymore, it's about finding these things, taking the pieces that you need and not absorbing those people's belief system, those people's content creation style, those people's messaging. Like, can you be truly, truly honest with yourself that whenever you find something that really makes you excited, that you're not actively like walking in their same footsteps? It's like, no, I'm just going to take the pieces that I need and leave the rest. Like, there are reasons that there's some people that I love, but I don't go on like this deep sea exploration, learning everything about them. Like for me, that doesn't feel good because it's like, I just see the pieces that I need for Stephanie and then I move with those. Okay. So really be very aware of the things that you're consuming online because that's going to help you understand, like taking everything with a grain of salt, right? There's so many people in this world that I love, that I have learned from, that they have a very deeply different belief system than me, but that doesn't mean that I can't learn something really cool from them, right? I don't write people off just because they have one opinion that I'm like, no, I don't agree with that and I don't like that. Like, I think that that is such a disservice that so many people in this world are doing to themselves now, to not have an open mind to see what you can get out of something, right? That like this person has success for a reason. What is it that I can learn from them? And of course, there's going to be people in this world that you were attracted to and you were repelled from and all of those things. It's perfect, but don't write people off if they don't have all the exact same belief systems as you. Or if you really like someone, don't sit there and adopt every single thing that they believe. That's baloney. That's not you being yourself. Okay. Got to be smart about what we consume, right? And then number 5 is make it a goal every single day. This is how you ditch comparison. You make it a goal every single day to be the most fucking badass version of yourself you can be. To be the most of you can be while you're here. Truly, nobody else is you. Nobody else gets to live this life, gets to walk in your shoes. And it's up to you to be the most of that while you're here. I don't care if you believe in like past lives and a million other things like that. Like, you're walking this walk one time as you, living and breathing. So show up like it is a privilege to be alive. Because it is. It is a privilege for you to wake up and be a human every single day, because your life is a blink. It is a snap. It really will be. Whenever you're done with this life, wherever we go, whatever it is, like, you're going to be floating around in the stratosphere of energy and you're going to be like, oh my God, that was so quick and that was so fast. And like, I can't believe I took everything so seriously. Like, it was just, let it be easy. Let it be fun. Let being human and being the best version of yourself every single day be the most epic journey of your life. Because whenever you're just like, I'm so thankful I'm human and I'm here and I'm alive, everything in your world becomes magical. And when everything in your world becomes magical, you aren't looking to other people to siphon off what they have, right? You're just so freaking jazzed to be who you are, where you are, what you're doing. All right. And so why we need activators, like why we need these people that we can learn from, and that we're so freaking grateful now that we have the internet so that we can see these kinds of things happen, and it can give us inspiration. It can help us even like fill in the gaps of what other people aren't doing. But we need activators because they turn on something inside of ourselves that has literally been like a little sleeping dragon. Like, it's been this little sleeping dragon inside of you. Like, you always felt this about yourself, but maybe seeing it in that other person made you go like, ooh, I have that too. Oh my God. Like, I feel like there's a million pterodactyls flying around in my belly of excitement right now because I have that too. And I want to show up like that as well. And so we find these people that like inspire us in different ways because there's something inside of us that those people have that we need to start bringing to the forefront in our own way. And so examples of people that like everyday activators that people use, like if you're more in the online business space, you probably know like Alex Hermosi, you probably know Gary Vee, people like that. If you were more like in the pulp in the pop culture world, you probably look towards Beyonce. A lot of people look towards Taylor Swift. Those are people that other people would consider activators. Like, they make you feel something. There's like this kinship that happens whenever you see their stuff. And so for me personally, and I want like I'm going into the nitty-gritty details of my own personal opinion on this because there's so much wackiness and weirdness and funness in these people that I feel like if you are hanging out on my lives, if you're listening to my podcast, that there's something inside each one of these people that maybe will spark something inside of you as well. So this is why I want to share these people. So what I look for in my own activators, like outside the online business space. You know that I've talked about plenty of people that are 8-figure entrepreneurs that I've learned from, that I listen to, that I love, but also so much of me, like doing this the past 2 years, has been like, I'm looking outside of just that industry because there's so much more out there than just this like little space, right? There's so many more ideas out there in the world. And so I really started taking from people that felt weird to me. If you know anything about my story, you know that whenever I first started showing up for my online business, I was very like black and gold colors. It was like, honestly, like, let's be real, it was boring. It was not me. I have a rainbow bright spirit. Like, I have a Kermit the Frog spirit. And like, truly, I was trying to play in this little box of somebody that I wasn't. And so, for me, the thing that I look at in like activators and people that like make me excited is the weirdness. I've always felt strange. I've always felt different. I've always felt like a black sheep in a sense. And I think that that's a beautiful thing that we really have to lean into, especially if you want to be a content creator, if you want to like create things around your products that you sell. Like, there is something weird about you. Understand that there is something different about you, because not everybody has that goal and aspiration, and especially like the drive to want to be seen. Right. And so I look for weird people. I look for different people. I look for rebellious people, the people that don't just like follow the rules all the way, the people that want to go off the beaten path, right? The people that like are a little raunchy and a little slutty and like a little fiery and a different like that, right? People that have like a unique sense of style, even if I'm not somebody that I consider to be like a fashionista by any way. Like, I love when people just wear shit that makes them happy and not the stuff that's just like trending and Stanley Cup and beige girl energy. Like, I love when people just like wear the shit that makes them happy and it makes them different. And also the way that they approach their craft. Like, it doesn't matter if they're a singer, doesn't matter if they're a drag queen, it doesn't matter what they're doing. If they have a unique approach to their craft, I'm immediately like, hang on. I want to pay attention here because this is something different than I've ever seen before. And if you're over on my YouTube, like watching this later, this is like the funniest presentation I've ever put together, because it's really not like, it's so simple. It's just pictures and I don't give a shit. I was going to take you along on TikTok as well and like change the pictures of my background, but I'm like, that's too much work. Like, I'm not here for it. I'm just going to talk about it. So, this is how I have found inspirational for my own personal branding from people that I consider activators. And hopefully this will help you to understand whenever you are coming across somebody's stuff that it sparks something inside of you. It tickles your brain and tingles you in all the right ways. This is almost like how you can take pieces from those people, lessons from those people, and start like putting them in a bank, putting them in your back pocket. Because honestly, those things that turn you on about those people, it's all things that you have inside of yourself. Like, trust me, whenever I started talking and using my voice online, my voice was wobbly. I was sweating through my shirt. I was uncomfortable. It did not feel like I had a strong voice, but I knew, I was like, shit, I have like an affinity somewhere deep inside of me for a strong voice, and I'm going to show up that way, and I'm going to keep doing it until I get good at this thing. So in these activators, you're going to find things that you're like, oh, I relate to that. Oh, I resonate with that. And again, this is something I've wanted to talk about for so long, because these are people that are like so near and dear to my heart. But the very first person, if I don't know if you've heard me say anything about this before, but I'm obsessed with Trixie Mattel. Like, full blown obsessed with Trixie, Katya, all of that. I finally found out that like her remodel of a hotel show was on HBO, and I just binged it the last week while I had some days off of work. And I was like, oh my God, there's so much good stuff here. And so I love Trixie because, like, if you ever watched, I haven't seen every single season, but I remember watching the old RuPaul's Drag Race, and like, she straight up, like, she did not win the season that she was in. Like, she did not win. And honestly, like, people thought she was crazy because of the way that she did, if you can see here, the way that she did her eye makeup, like, so drastically different than the majority of drag queens. Like, a lot of times, so many drag queens can start to like look the same after a while because it's just the makeup and then they change the wig. But with her, it always just felt so different and it felt so Trixie. And even whenever she was on there, it was a little like underdeveloped and it hadn't like fully come into its space, but she just kept showing up every single day. She was like getting on stages. She was putting herself out there to be on TV shows. She was like creating music and getting better at this makeup and the way that she looked every single day. Like, that took years. That was years of character development to become this personal brand that now She has her own makeup line. She has her own motel. She has her own bar. Like I think it was like the first gay bar in Minnesota that she bought. And it's like all of this entrepreneurial energy. Like that's another thing that I find Trixie to be an activator for me, because I'm like, look at all those businesses and look at like the creativity and the art that goes into this. And I think that it's such a beautiful thing. So like, yeah, I like to laugh whenever I'm going through a TikTok video that has like Trixie and Katya and things like that, but I'm actually drawn into her for like other reasons. Most people aren't willing to be a failure to get to success. Rewind. Most people are not willing to be a failure to get to success. Bottom line. And all of these people that I'm going to be talking about today truly have been willing to be failures, to fall upwards, like fail upwards, as they say, to get to where they are and where they have been. Another person that I am like so happy as a clam to see is now getting a lot of attention is Chappell Roan. And maybe because she is inspired by drag queens, and I freaking love drag queens, but like she is just her own thing. And one of the things that made me fall in love with Chappell Roan before she started blowing up was the fact that like she got signed to a record deal and then got dropped and then had to move back to like bumfuck Missouri. Like had to move back to her hometown after like her dreams came true. And then it was like crash landing. And then like 2020 happened and all of these things. Like she literally rode out the uncomfortable, that it's not working, that this isn't feeling good anymore, and just kept showing up for her art form, for her craft over and over again. I don't know if you've seen the Tiny Desk performance that she did, but she literally has like caked on like what looks like old crazy, I don't know if it would be considered like Victorian makeup, but she's got lipstick on her teeth while she sang this whole set. Like that is, it's off-putting and it's eye-catching and it's captivating and it's different, right? Like if you saw on the internet, she dressed up like the friggin' Statue of Liberty the other day. It's being willing to roll the dice and do those iconic moves, do those things that are different. I challenge you, like, go watch her music video, Pink Pony Club. She recorded that a long time ago, I think, like before she had this like upsurging of her popularity. And it's such a beautiful portrayal of what it's like to put yourself out there. Like I love that music video of the Pink Pony Club because it's like she's starting to sing and it's like nobody's listening at first. And then she just keeps singing and she keeps getting like more self-expressed. And then she stops giving a shit what the people in the bar think about her. And she just like is dancing around. And it's just like, it's the most beautiful lesson wrapped up in art that you could possibly see. And then you'll have that song stuck in your freaking head. Another person that I love, I did a combination, what are those called? Like a stitch video of one of her interviews the other day, but freaking Julia Fox is so weird and so different. And it's not even about the blonde dyed eyebrows. It's about like, this is a woman that like owns her background. Like her background is a dominatrix, like her background of just being like this muse for other people and really coming into herself of like wearing shit. Like if you were looking at my computer right now, if you're on YouTube, you see these outfits, but like wearing shit that nobody else wears for the sake of the art behind it. Like she has fun with her art form. She has fun with her self-expression. And she also like is somebody that sees the evolution that took place over time. Like I was watching another interview with her the other day. She was talking about the fact that she's like, thank God Kanye came into my life. And most people would be like, oh my God, why? That was like a shitstorm. And they're like, no, it like ruffled up the right feathers because it made her realize she wanted to take creative control of her look, and seeing that and being like, oh, actually, that was a really, really good thing for me because now on the other side of it, I'm way more self-expressed than ever before. But she's weird. She's strange. She like doesn't give a shit what other people think. And truly, I'm just loving this progression. Even if I don't agree with every single word that comes out of this girl's mouth, there's something so magical about her because she's so herself and she's like building this community of people that like get it, right? And of people that want to be weird, of people that want to be out there. And it's the same with like, I never got super into her other than just like her as a person. And she made me curious was like Grimes. And I don't know if you like listen to a lot of her music. I know not everybody's like crazy pants bananas about her new stuff, but it's also different. Like she leaned in to her own sound. She leaned in to even like the way that she speaks. Like most people that have like a speech impediment or like a lisp or something like that, like get really bashful and get really shy. And I think that it's so beautiful, like even just hearing the sound of her voice in her own tone, the way that she speaks, it's so different and it's so her, and she's not trying to be somebody she's not. Right. And so there's so much magic in these people that we can find. Like these are just little bits and pieces that I'm taking from all of these people on the internet. And instead of like being obsessed with them and trying to do everything their exact same way, it's like, no, what can you learn from these people that like genuinely turn you on and make you excited? Like, what, like, can you compile a list from all your favorite creators, from all your favorite artists, from all your favorite people, and make it be a jumbo of who you are? You know what I mean? Of like, oh, I want to do that too. I want to show up like that too. These next two are so random on the list because we go from like literal drag queens to NBA athletes. And I will talk about Kobe and Michael Jordan all day long because I don't give that much of a fudge about sports. But what I do love about athletes is their mindset. I am obsessed with listening to reels of Kobe talking. I am obsessed with, I think about this quote that like Michael Jordan said all the time. And it was like, this idea is like, nobody else is going to work harder than me. Like nobody else is going to be as harsh on themselves as me because I'm my own critic. Like I am my own bar that I set myself to. And so I'm obsessed and I'm activated by these people, even though I don't really care about basketball and I don't really care about sports and all that shit. Like, I don't, it's just not for me. I used to be a cheerleader, but that was more of like, hey, this is fun, more so than like, I'm really into this. But there's so much we can learn from athletes and their mindset, especially if you're an entrepreneur, especially if you're a content creator. Like Kobe's big thing is like, this is not just like weeks. This is not just months. This is years in the making. This is the work of your lifetime. It doesn't matter if you fail. It doesn't matter if you win. You got to show up tomorrow the same way anyways, and you just can't stop. You have to keep these commitments to yourself. And for me, I'm like, fuck, like that literally speaks to something in my soul that has that tenacity, that has that persistence to get shit done and to create something you've never seen before, right? This next one's like so freaking random, but this is like, this is how little and how minuscule you can see out of like these activators, out of these people that really like, that bring something different out of you. I had to take a sip of water. I'm talking fast. That's all right. I'm just genuinely excited to be talking about this. But even people like I had heard a couple months back about how whenever The Rock started doing WWE, which like WWE, I don't know much about it, but the pieces I do know is about like it's like you creating your own archetype, you creating your own character, and then how people take that character. And I think that that is so interesting. And so even though I haven't ever really watched any movies with The Rock, I was listening to this thing about him talking about the fact that like once he started in the WWE, it was like really hard for him at first, but over time, he started like arching his eyebrows and like using his voice differently and like talking really like talking totally different than he did before. And he created this character, like being very animated with his face is what helped skyrocket his WWE career. And it's the same. I even think about like people like Jim Carrey that like use their face and they don't just like look normal. It's almost like I say often, it's like life is so good whenever you're this washcloth that you just like squeeze all of the goodness out of it. It's almost like these people are doing it with their body, with their body language. And so it's inspired me the way that I show up and I take pictures, not to just be like, cheese, but to just be like, how can I use my face to like demonstrate what I'm feeling on the inside? Because I have all these crazy, weird, fun feelings on the inside. So I want them to shine out of me. And so it's the littlest pieces of these activators of like The Rock or Jim Carrey that I take those pieces. I'm like, ooh, let me infuse that into my work. Let me infuse that into my personal brand, into my business. And the last one that I have on here is just like random ass TikTok creators that I don't even know everybody's name. I turned on TikTok this morning, shit you not, and there's this man dressed up in a blow up sunshine costume, literally just dancing and like telling people how great it is to be alive. And you go to his channel and there's just a bunch of those videos and he's just like psyched to be alive. And it's like, what if we were all so ballsy? Like, what if we all just were willing to put on a fucking blow up outfit and just like dance around making a fool out of yourself in the best way because you're just going to lay it all out on the line? Like, what if you had a quarter of that fire of like, I don't give a shit anymore. Like, there is nothing that's going to stop me. Like, I've had so many ideas for TikToks lately that I've just had to act on that's like, oh, if somebody sees that, that could be embarrassing. Or, oh, if somebody sees that, like that could be uncomfortable. Like, there's just no more time. There's just no more time. There's this girl that, oh, her name's Mally, and she has a freaking puppet that she had specially made, and it basically looks like a roadkill fox. And in all honesty, she named it Estelle. She makes fucking music videos with it. And she is out there like on her electric guitar, like playing while this puppet's floating around in the background. Does not give a shit. Is the most self-expressed version of herself. That is her art. That is her craft. And I look at people like that more so than the freaking influencers. I look at people like that and I'm like, that's where the grooviest juice is, because these are the people that are laying it all out on the field for what it is that they're passionate about, right? Look at people like, if you've ever seen any of Chris's videos, she had blonde hair and now it's red, and her face is very self-expressed, and she uses tiny hands, and like she does like silly shit on her videos. And I'm just like, oh, that branding's true to my soul, because there's just like, she'll make skits out of nothing. She'll make skits out of nothing. And it doesn't matter if it's embarrassing. It doesn't matter if it's uncomfortable. She's like, I'm just going to post this and it's whatever. You know, where are you holding back? Where are you playing small? Where are you comparing yourself to other people and not allowing yourself to be the most self-expressed version of you on your internet soapbox? Because there's no more time. Like, this is my whole thing. There is no more time for you to sit around and twirl your thumbs, for you to wait to manifest the perfect time, the perfect place, for you to sit around waiting for inspiration and opportunity to come knocking at your door and to just watch people and compare yourself. There's no more time for that. It's about you going out and creating and being the biggest and best fucking version of yourself you possibly can be while you're here. So be very aware. Are you sitting there comparing where everybody else is at step 10 when you feel like you're at step 3? Or are you somebody that's so obsessed with your step 3 that you're like, oh my God, it's inevitable that I get to step 10, but I just get to keep going and I get to have the time of my life doing it. So use these people that you see online, collect the data of what you're learning from those people, and then bring that out in your own special way whenever you show up on the internet. Okay. I am done for the day. That is something that just like feels like a fire in my belly and had to come out. If you know that you are meant to be on camera, you are meant to be creating content, you are meant to shine online, make sure you go check out the link in my bio. Confidence on Camera. It has been remastered because this is something that I knew so many people, it doesn't matter if you just landed on my page 5 minutes ago or if you've been in my community for years, this is something that is going to change the game for you. It is 10 bite-sized masterclasses to help you kick imposter syndrome to the curb, not worry about validation, build your brand and your audience through your big ass personality and showing up as the biggest version of you on social media. It's $97. Don't be silly. It is a no-brainer and it's going to change the freaking game for you forever. The drops are going to be continuing throughout June and July. I just posted the third one, so I can't freaking wait for the rest of them to come up there. But DM me for anything that you actually no. If you want to be in this, you know it. Like you already feel it in every single cell of your body that you're meant to get on camera and meant to shine. So I love you. I love you. I love you. And have the most beautiful rest of your day. Bye-bye.